What if the smallest change you make today could reshape your entire future? Not a big move, not a huge plan, just one tiny step. This is Kaizen, the quiet power that turns everyday moments into lifelong progress. And once you understand it, you'll never look at improvement the same way again.
The idea behind Kaizen moves like a soft wind through a crowded room. It does not shout. It does not demand fireworks or sudden miracles. It suggests a way of living that fits into ordinary days and small moments. This way begins with a calm, clear choice to keep growing by making tiny, honest improvements. It is not a plan for perfection. It is a path of steady change that asks for attention, patience, and a willingness to try again. Imagine standing at the edge of a garden that has been left untended. Weeds push through the soil. Some plants crowd each other. The soil is dry in places and waterlogged in others. The garden is not ruined. It needs tending. The gardener who follows Kaizen does not pull up every plant or dig up the whole yard at once. Instead, the gardener moves slowly, clears a small bed, waters the soil, prunes a single branch, and watches how life returns. Over time, small touches bring beauty back. The garden becomes healthy, not because of dramatic action, but because of careful, steady care. This idea, the gardener's quiet work, is the heart of Kaizen. At its center is a practice of seeing clearly. When Principle 1 appears, it asks for honest sight. It asks for a moment of truth, to look at things as they are, without excuses or hiding. This is not a harsh look. It is a clear and steady gaze that recognizes strengths and notices limits. When you face reality, you lose the stories you tell to avoid change. You find the simple facts you can act on. In that space, the smallest detail becomes the first step. You can begin without magic, without drama, only with the truth you hold in your hands. Following that clear look, Principle 2 teaches the power of very small movements. It is not heroic, it is microscopic. It says that improvement is a string of tiny choices, each one asking only for a little attention. These small choices can be a minute of practice, a short walk, a single page read, or the decision to clean one corner of a room. At first, these acts feel almost meaningless, but each one is a small vote for the life you want. The strength of these tiny acts comes from repetition. Over weeks and months, they gather like drops into a river. The river shapes the land. Small actions shape your days, and eventually, the person you become.
Curiosity is the companion of steady work. Principle 3 encourages a mind that asks why and how, not a mind that blames or gives up. The questions are simple. Why did this not work? How can this be easier? What if I changed this step? Questions open doors. They create a habit of thoughtful action instead of blind effort. When you learn to question kindly and clearly, you turn problems into experiments. Every setback becomes a lesson, and every lesson guides the next small step. This way of thinking is practical and hopeful. It keeps your mind active and gentle at the same time. A heavy weight in the journey is the desire for perfect results. Principle 4 shifts this weight. It asks you to let go of perfection and to hold progress. Perfection is a mirage that freezes movement. When you wait for perfect timing or perfect skill, you miss the daily path of growth. Letting go of perfection frees your hands to act. It allows you to try, to fail, and to learn without shame. Progress does not demand flawless outcomes. It asks for motion. When you choose progress over perfection, you give yourself permission to be human, to practice, and to improve step by step. Habits are the secret engines of lasting change. Principle 5 focuses on how habits are made and how they can be shaped. Habits are not built by force. They grow from small, steady repetition and smart design. If a task is made slightly easier, you are more likely to do it. If a room is arranged so that tools are where you need them, your work becomes smoother. Kaizen asks you to design your life so good choices are simple and natural. When the environment supports the habit, willpower matters less. Over time, the right actions become automatic. This slow work of habit building is gentle but powerful. Every small step deserves notice. Principle 6 brings the idea of celebration into the quiet of daily effort. Celebration does not need to be loud. It can be a small smile, a quick note in a journal, or a moment of relief when a task is done. Recognizing these small wins fuels the spirit. It builds confidence and creates a pattern of positive reward. The brain learns that effort leads to good things, and this makes it easier to keep going. In the long race of life, the quiet victories are the true fuel that keeps movement alive. Part of making progress is removing things that steal time and energy. Principle 7 explores the idea of waste, those small leaks that drain your attention. Waste comes in many forms. It may be physical clutter that takes time to sort, mental clutter that fills your thoughts with worry, or routines that take more time than they should. Kaizen invites a gentle clearing. It is not ruthless purging, it is choosing what matters and removing what distracts. When you remove waste, you create space for the things that bring growth. The result is a clearer mind and a lighter rhythm to your day. Respect is subtle but essential. Principle 8 asks for respect for the self and for the process of growth. Respect for yourself means believing that steady work matters and that your pace is valid. It means not pushing to the point of harm and not shrinking from challenge out of fear. Respect for the process recognizes that improvement is gradual. It honors small gains and understands that change takes time. When you treat the path with respect, you protect your energy and sustain your motivation. This respectful stance keeps you present and kind to yourself during the long work of growth.
Living Kaizen means turning improvement into daily life, not a single project with an end date. Principle 9 calls for a lifestyle view. It suggests that each day contains a chance to be a little better than the day before. This view changes everything. It moves growth from the realm of big goals and rare events into the steady rhythm of habit, attention, and curiosity. When improvement becomes part of how you live each day, you do not rely only on bursts of motivation. You rely on routine, on quiet systems, and on a gentle schedule of progress. Over seasons, these daily acts create a deep, lasting change that feels natural and true. Finally, the path of Kaizen is open-ended. Principle 10 is a quiet promise that the journey never truly ends. There is no ultimate finish line where everything is complete and nothing more is needed. Life evolves, goals shift, and new challenges appear. Embracing Kaizen means loving the work of growing itself, not only the results it brings. This outlook takes pressure off final outcomes and shifts attention to the joy of doing small things well. When you accept that change is a continuous project, you find a steady peace in motion, a calm energy that keeps renewing itself as life moves forward. When these principles are woven together, they form a living method, not a set of rules. Kaizen does not require grandeur. It asks for an honest heart and a patient mind. It asks that you take one small action, see what happens, and then take the next. This rhythm of act, learn, and adapt is both simple and profound.
It teaches resilience because small failures do not destroy the work, they become data for the next attempt. It teaches humility because no single day will make the whole change. And it teaches confidence because each day's small success is a proof that change is possible. Consider the shape of a long stairway. When you stand at its base, the top seems distant and unclear. The path may look long enough to make you hesitate. Kaizen is like choosing to step up one stair at a time. Each step is modest, and each step matters. The breath you take at the top of one stair prepares you for the next. Over time, many small rises carry you to new heights. The view changes slowly, but it becomes richer with each steady step. There are practical ways to live Kaizen that feel natural. One is to choose an area of life to focus on each week. Nothing large, simply a shape to give your attention. You might look at how you manage time, how you learn a language, how you keep your space, or how you care for your body. Within that focus, choose a single small action you can repeat. A habit that takes less than 5 minutes is easier to maintain than a task that feels overwhelming. As the small action becomes comfortable, add another equally small change. With this careful growth, you build a scaffold for larger work without collapsing under its weight. The mind that practices Kaizen grows more flexible. When a plan fails, the response is not panic, but curiosity. The questions that arise are practical and kind. Did I try the right time of day? Was the step too large? Did I forget to set up the environment to make the action easy? This questioning is not a blame game, it is a practical experiment. You adjust one small variable and try again. In this way, Kaizen trains you to be a scientist of your life, observing, noting, and refining. A clear benefit of Kaizen is that it reduces the fear of beginning. In a culture where results are often the loudest voice, the pressure to start perfectly can be paralyzing. But the promise of Kaizen is the permission to begin imperfectly. It invites you to be a slow starter who wins in the long run. It says that starting small is not a sign of weakness, but an intelligent way to create lasting change. The courage to begin, even with a tiny step, becomes one of the greatest strengths.
There is also a deep human rhythm in this practice. Young people, especially, can find Kaizen comforting because it aligns with the reality of learning. Language, skill, and confidence are built in small, repeatable doses. The daily act of showing up, even for a little while, creates more growth than a rare, intense effort. The slow work is reliable. It accumulates power like compound interest. Over months and years, what once seemed impossible becomes ordinary. Kaizen does not ask you to be alone in the journey. It hopes you will bring community into your small acts. Sharing progress, celebrating tiny wins with friends, and asking for gentle help are all part of a healthy path. A study partner or a short message to a friend can keep the pattern alive. What begins as an individual decision often becomes a shared culture when friends and peers adopt the same quiet method. That collective steady work creates a web of support that makes the small steps easier and more joyful. Sometimes the path will feel slow. Sometimes progress will appear invisible. In those times, remembering the gardener helps. The seed does not break ground every day, but life is growing underground. These hidden changes are real. Trusting the process is essential. Keep a record of small acts, a simple list of what you did each day. When you look back after months, you will see the pattern and feel the progress that seemed absent in the moment. Kaizen values learning more than proving. It encourages trying small experiments instead of proving a point to the world. This turns effort into exploration and reduces shame at failure. When the goal is to learn, each step is a success, because you gain information that guides the next step. That frame makes growth playful and less threatening. It turns hard work into curious practice. Finally, the real beauty of Kaizen is how gentle it is. It offers a practice that respects human limits and prefers steady care over burning out. It tells a young person that true change is not a sprint, but a habit. It reassures someone who fears failure that every day offers a chance to be a little better. It teaches that progress can be quiet and still powerful. If you choose this way, you will meet 10 principles along the path, and they will become familiar friends. Principle 1 will bring clarity. Principle 2 will teach tiny actions. Principle 3 will open your curiosity. Principle 4 will set you free from perfection. Principle 5 will shape habits. Principle 6 will ask you to celebrate small wins. Principle 7 will help you remove waste. Principle 8 will call for respect for self and process. Principle 9 will make improvement a daily life. And Principle 10 will remind you that the journey has no end. These truths are simple, but their practice is profound. They ask only for your attention and your willingness to act again tomorrow. In a noisy world that measures success by speed and spectacle, Kaizen invites a quieter measure: steady, kind, and continuous improvement. It is a method that fits into the life of any learner, any worker, any dreamer. Each small act you choose becomes a thread in a long tapestry. Over time, these threads form a whole life shaped by patient care and steady skill. Begin today by noticing one small thing you can do differently. Then do it. Notice the change, ask a question about it, and try again. In this way, your life will slowly, surely, and beautifully shift toward the person you hope to become. The path is simple to start and infinite to travel. Embrace it and watch how tiny, true changes add up to real growth.